for working. All right, you guys, here we go. Gosh, this is such an honor because I think Bob knows this, but I followed him for like 3 or 4 years, okay? And then started working with him at the beginning of COVID because I felt like, you know what, I just need to do something different. Like things are just not feeling the way that I want them to feel a decade into my business. And so when I started listening to his podcast, if you don't listen to it, you guys, it's amazing, Your Virtual Upline. And then I had my entire team listen to it as well. I just felt so connected with the message that he was sharing. And then, a couple years later, he's created several different trainings, but the one currently is Love, Serve, Grow. That's one I'm part of. And I know when him and I connected back in December and he brought up this idea to me, I knew we had to grab onto it, you guys, because with it being the beginning of 2022 or 2023, right? It's 2023. What year is it, you guys? I think I just muted you, Bob. I'm so sorry. Hang on, let me unmute you. Where'd he go? Oh, here we go. You're good. But with it being 2023, here's the thing, you guys, you have to realign yourself. You have to do something in a different way this year to get something different, right? And if you're on this training for the next couple of weeks, you know deep down in your heart that you can serve so many people with this business opportunity, but for whatever reason, things are not clicking the way they should. Okay, so Bob is going to take us through just some really important key things in your business to make sure that you're realigned and so that things do click in 2023 so you can go out and really serve people the way that this business can. So Bob, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Meg. So I feel like you a lot of days. I don't know what year it is either, but maybe that's that probably has a lot to do with a 5 and a 3-year-old boy living with us. So that doesn't help things much either. But thanks, Meg. I really appreciate the introduction. And, it's really, I have to say, it's really been an honor and a privilege to be able to work with you and to get to know you, because you really do in every way, from a leadership standpoint, embody everything that we teach with Love, Serve, Grow. So I'm really excited that I'm here and I'm getting a chance to share with everyone. I've got a question, just kind of curious here. Maybe you're a podcast listener, maybe you heard me speak at Summit. I'm curious to find out, I want to take everybody's temperature and a pulse of how you're feeling about your business right now. And if I had to ask you this, and I want you to be honest, okay, this is, a safe place for us all. And there is no right or wrong answer. If I had to ask you, give me one word, honest, first thing that comes to mind, how are you feeling about your business right now going into 2023? Just drop that in the chat for me. I want to take a temperature of the room here. Okay, good. Thank you. So not surprisingly, we have a kind of an equal mix of positive feelings and not so positive feelings. So I appreciate you all sharing that with me. And this is kind of what I am seeing and what I'm hearing from most of the people that I work with. Something interesting is happening though. What I am noticing and what I am sensing is a very real sense of fear that I don't know has really been present for a lot of people over the last couple of years. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, right? Because God knows we've been through a lot of stuff in the last couple of years. But I think this is a fear that is really tied to a lot of uncertainty about what 2023 is going to bring in the way of opportunity. And I think that it's kind of a natural thing to fall victim to, because if you look at the news, all you hear is doom and gloom, right? We hear recession, we hear inflation, we hear people losing jobs, they're spending less money, there's pending war happening all over the world. Like, it could be really easy as a human being to just be fearful for what all of this is going to mean for you and your business. And I think what compounds this fear even more, a lot of the people that I speak to and a lot of our clients are telling me that their business is just stuck, that they kind of plateaued in 2021 or 2022. And that what they're noticing is that it's becoming harder and harder to do the things that they've always done in their business. It's harder to get attention and eyeballs on social media. It's harder to make sales. It's harder to recruit. And I think that this is something that is a very real thing. And here's what I think is driving all of this. The world has changed and people have changed. And what people are looking for today is very different than what they've been looking for in the past. And so today I want to share with you some actual data, some research, recent studies that have come out on what consumers are looking for in 2023. And I think this is a really important thing for all of you to understand as business owners, because one of the most important things that you can do today is learn how to adapt and evolve your approach to your business to fit and match what people actually want today. And I'm going to talk about, there's one topic that we're really going to dive into. It's a topic that is often discussed, but I hear very little people actually being able to explain to you how to do this. And it's the topic of creating value for what you do in your business. I want to actually, today I'm going to share with you 3 separate and distinct levels of value creation. Now, this applies to everything you do in your business, but we are specifically going to focus on your sales conversations. It also, what I'm going to teach you applies to your content as well, but we're going to focus on sales conversations. And what I'm going to help you understand is going into 2023, I'm going to share with you some really important shifts that you absolutely must make in the way that you're talking to people about your products and business if you want to stand out and you want to win. Does that sound good enough? Okay, awesome. So here's the first thing I want to share with you is what some of the data is saying. So there's an organization called Forrester. They are kind of the go-to research and advisory firm when it comes to consumer behavior. All of the business leaders in the world, they go to Forrester. They publish an annual consumer behavior report. And what they basically do is they survey all these people and they get a sense of what are you looking for right now in your purchases and the companies you do business with. And there's one thing that stood out to me above everything else. Here's what people are saying. The thing they want more than anything is maximum value in every single purchase they make. Value is the #1 thing that they are looking for. And when we talk about value, right on the other side of that coin is the experience that you create in the process of doing business with you. Value is the thing that drives all business decisions. And this is an interesting conversation because a lot of people, part of their fear stems from the fact that they don't believe people are spending money, because this is all we see and hear in the news. And so it would be natural, if we believe that people aren't going to be spending money, it would be natural for us to be worried about if they're going to buy our products or join our team. I want to actually present a different side of the argument. See, I actually think that 2023 could become the best opportunity that you have ever had in your business, because you have an advantage over almost every other traditional business or company out there because of the nature of our business model being direct to consumer. You can create an experience that almost any other type of business cannot. And that experience, that personalized experience, it doesn't start with after somebody buys from you. It starts with the very first piece of content that you put out into the world when people first get to know you. But we have to understand what does create value. But I want to dispel this myth that people are not spending money, because this is just pure BS. They're spending money, and I'll prove it to you. That same person that told you they don't have $500 to start a business and become a coach, guess what they did a week later? They went and waited in line at Apple for 4 hours to buy a $1,000 iPhone. And they're the same person that they can't ever miss a model. They will wait in line. You know, the other thing that's interesting, I was at the mall the other day. It was a Tuesday night, and I walked by the Louis Vuitton store. You want to know what I saw? I saw a line of people out the door. It don't matter what day you walk by that store, there is a line of people waiting to pay thousands of dollars for a handbag that, other than status, let's be real, quality wise, it ain't that much better than what you can get for probably a fraction of the price. But why do people do that? Because they value these purchases. Now, there's a whole other interesting conversation about Louis Vuitton and value. Do you know that this is crazy when I found this out? Not only do they never go on sale. You'll never buy a Louis Vuitton for cheaper. Do you know that they literally destroy the handbags that they don't sell? They burn them. If they have leftover inventory, what they will do is they'll do a special clearance sale only for employees where they can buy them in the warehouse before they trash them, but they burn the handbags that they do not sell. Now, why would a company do that? Well, because they understand that there is a perception around value. The way that you present scarcity creates value. So what we have to do, one of the most important things that we can do in business is understand what creates value. And this is where most people go wrong. So let me share with you these 3 levels of value creation. Here's the first level: product information. This is what almost everybody does. And if you're part of our community and you've heard me talk about this topic before, we teach 2 different ways to sell. You're either having transactional sales conversations or transformational sales conversations. What 99.9% of people do in this profession is they only have transactional sales conversations. Transactional sales conversations focus almost solely on product information. So what does that mean? Well, product information is information about your company, information about your products, information about everything that you have to offer, compensation plan, workout programs, company, like any fact and figure, anything you could think of, it's all product information. Here's the problem with product information. At the beginning of the sales process, and that means you creating content or having conversations, there is little to no value in product information. Now, why is that? Well, think about what we say when we're sharing product information. What does every single salesperson in the world say? My thing's the best thing. We have the best products. We have the best company. We've got the best workouts. We've got the best compensation plan. We have the best culture. We have the best this. That's all you see and that's all you hear. And because of social media and the fact that we are connected in a way that we've never been as a society, and we have access to information, good or bad, we don't even get to choose what information is thrown at us now. We are exposed to thousands of these types of sales and marketing messages every day. Do you know there was a recent survey where they asked, and what they found was that people were asked, what percentage of online sellers and marketers do you actually think have integrity? They said less than 5%. So here's the problem. If you're out there saying the same thing as everyone else, now I get it. You really believe that body is the best thing out there or you wouldn't be here. But what I want you to recognize is the second you say what everybody else says, you are immediately like everyone else in your prospect's eyes. You immediately trigger their sales resistance and they start looking negatively at you. Now, that's an interesting thing to think about. Even your family and your friends and people that love you would do anything in the world for you. People that you don't like, you're like, why won't these people support my business? I'll tell you why. Because you are having product conversations with them and you are triggering their sales resistance, and they are doing to you what they do to every other salesperson. No thanks. See, I've never heard a salesperson, I've never heard a social seller tell people that they've got the 5th best compensation plan. I've never heard somebody say, yeah, like you really should try our products. They're not half bad. Like they're okay. Like you might like them. I don't know, but try. I've never heard anybody say that. So what I want you to realize is if the basis of your conversations with people is you giving product information, you are a commodity today. It is the lowest form of value. And if in the beginning, I said people are starting to struggle because they're seeing what they've done isn't working anymore. This is the biggest shift that's happening in the world today. People are fed up with this method of selling. So here's what you have to do this year. It's not a right or wrong conversation, by the way. There's a better way. You need to evolve your selling. There are higher levels of selling that you can go to stand out. Here's the first thing you need to do. The second level of value creation is our problems. The biggest shift that you can make in your content and conversations is to go from being product focused to problem focused. Product focused is about you. It's about making the sale. Product focus is about them, and it is about how you can help. This is where transformational sales conversations begin. You are a problem finder and you are a problem solver. Now, here's what's interesting about problems. If we're making the focus of our conversation about other people's problems, here's what the first thing that happens. We talk way less. See, I'd invite you to go back and look at some of your conversations with prospects. Notice how much, and when I say talking, that's really messaging now, but notice how much you're messaging versus them. See, when you're having a transformational conversation, you talk a fraction of the time. You ask purposeful questions because your goal is, let me find out if this person even has a need for what I'm offering. It's much different than what most people do, which is going in with these scripts and these pre-packaged plans of how we're going to share what we do with people. It's one size fits all. It don't work anymore today. So here's the first thing I want you to realize. I talk about being problem focused. And a lot of people will say to me, Bob, I do that in my business, right? I talk about problems. I talk about how we can solve problems. But after closer inspection, here's what they really do. This is what most people do. We sell prepackaged solutions to problems. So what that might look like is somebody tells you, or you see somebody comment or post about how it's a new year. I need to lose weight this year. I got to get in better shape. I want to be a better me. And then what do? You jump all over that like a dog on a bone. And you say, well, you got to do my thing. You got to do this new workout plan, right? You got to do this thing. You got to take this thing. Because if you do, it's going to help you, right? And we prescribe our solution. Or somebody says, God forbid anybody ever online. I just cringe when I see people do this. Hey, I got to get a new job, or I'm not happy with work, right? It's like I see somebody post that, and then I'm just like, oh boy, they do not know what is coming for them, because what's coming for them. Every single person that they are connected to on social media is about to send them a hey girl message. Hey girl, I saw your post. You'd be perfect. You'd be perfect coach for my team. Here's why we're so great. Now, listen, if some of you do this, I'm not trying to step on your toes, because I know that you're coming from a good place. You really do want to help, and you do believe in what you have to offer. But I want you to recognize in that moment, you are like every other salesperson in the world to them. And that's the reason why they don't respond to you. See, here's how I want you to think of this. This is a really good analogy. Prescription without diagnosis is malpractice. Could you imagine if you went into your doctor tomorrow, said, hey doc, I've been just like in a funk the last couple of days, and something's been off. And within 30 seconds of you coming into his exam room, he said, yeah, you're depressed. Here, take this pill. Could you imagine if that happened? Yeah, I'll tell you what, that doctor wouldn't be a doctor for very long, would he? But this is what we do every single day. We prescribe without taking the time to diagnose. See, so here's where a lot of the people that come to our world, a lot of our clients that come into our programs, they hear us talk about love, serve, grow, and they immediately connect with that, because they're like, yes, this sounds like the way that I want to build my business. And they come to us, and the first thing that I notice is this: they've got the right heart, they've got the right intention. They feel called to do something beyond just making money, but they're not armed with the right skills and the right approach. So that's what we do. We give them an approach to selling and having conversations that is more aligned with their values and who they actually believe themselves to be. See, sales doesn't have to be something that's icky. It's not manipulative. Salesy is not a word. Salesy is not a word. It is something that people created to define a method of selling, which is product focused and transactional. Sales is actually the ultimate form of service. The greatest opportunity you will ever have in your business is after you sell someone. See, most people think I serve and then I sell. That's not how it works. You sell now and then you serve. See, that's where the mindset needs to shift. But here's what I want you to understand about problems. How do we diagnose? Well, here's how. I want you to understand that a problem is not actually a problem unless you take the time to understand and explore the uniqueness of the problem. So what does that mean? Well, let me give you an example. Let's say that you had two people sitting side by side. Now, at face value, they got the same problem, right? They're a female wanting to get healthier, lose weight, have more energy. Now, you could prescribe the same solution to those two people, but if you took a little bit of time to diagnose, to understand the circumstances of their life and how their lives might be different, what you would come to find out is one of them is a young single female, the other one is a married mother of four. And that thing that you thought was the same could not possibly be more different for those two people. See, it's the impact of the problem. It's how that problem is affecting the other areas of their life. That's where real value and connection is made. It's learning how to slow down in your conversations, to be present, to ask purposeful questions, to uncover areas of need, and then to be able to relate and share. This is the skill of selling that, quite frankly, very few people have. Very few people actually know how to sell. The lowest level of skill in selling is transactional. Anybody can do that. Here's what I want you to think about. How much value is there really in a sales conversation, you giving people facts and figures, the same information that they could find in a 30-second Google search? What value is that? It's not, especially not in the world we live in today. So we have to explore the uniqueness. We have to connect with people. Here's where you find meaningful conversations. Now, let me share with you a quick story. And I think this will perfectly kind of illustrate to you the power of this approach. So starting out in this profession, I struggled big time. My first year, I didn't recruit a single person. That was not for a lack of effort. I tried everything. Here's what I noticed early on. The method of selling, and when I say selling, by the way, I'm not just talking about products. I'm talking about business. Every conversation you have in your business is a sales conversation. But when I was out there talking about my products or business, the one thing that I noticed right away is how weird it felt. I'm just being honest. It felt, and I know there's some of you on here that can relate to this. It felt so weird for me to go pitch my family and friends. It's like, they know me my whole life. I've never been in business, never been in any of these industries that I'm in now. And then all of a sudden, the next time I see them, I'm pitching them as if I'm an expert in health and wellness and entrepreneurship. It felt so weird. It felt so forced. It felt so inauthentic. And not just for me, it was weird for them as well. But I just didn't know any better because this is the only way of selling that I was taught. But this is what I thought I had to do. But I was out there and I was doing it and it wasn't working. And then I got to the point where I'm like, there just must be something wrong with me. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm not good enough. I started to question. But what I didn't understand is that I was only taught one way to sell. Here was the aha moment for me. I hadn't had a single recruit. This is how I got my first recruit in my business. This story is crazy. So I was in medical sales and I was in a doctor's office and there was a sales rep next to me, a young guy, struck up a conversation. We hit it off right away. Here's what made us hit it off right away. We had both gone through, after about 5 minutes of talking, we found this out. We had both gone through the exact same experience where we were working for a company that laid off half of its sales force overnight in 1 year. And we went through this experience, not even know if we were going to have a job. And going through that experience completely changed the way we looked at working for other people. And I connected with them on that right away. And we exchanged cards. I called him up a day later. I said, hey, can we get together for coffee? I said, look, I really enjoyed meeting you. I've got something I'd love to share with you. And I don't know if it's for you. So he kind of knew going into the meeting that I wanted to talk to him about something, but we didn't say what it was. And so I went into this meeting different. I said, I'm not going to go into this meeting like I always do, pitching and presenting, focusing on all the reasons why he needs to do it, product, company, industry. I'm going to just go in and I just want to connect with this guy. See, what I did, and it wasn't intentional, is I mentally said I'm shifting from product to problem. And what caused me to do that is because I genuinely thought that this guy was me a year ago. And I wanted to ask some questions to find out if that was a fact. I went into the meeting, we sat down, we just talked. It was so much less pressure. It was so much more effortless. I asked him questions. But it was beyond just the initial problem. I shared some of my struggles and the way I was feeling and some of my hopes and dreams and aspirations. And we connected around these things. And we were getting towards the end of the hour. I'll never forget what happened. He stops me mid-sentence. I didn't even know what time it was. He stops me mid-sentence. He goes, okay. He goes, I'm in. I go, what do you mean? He goes, I'm in. Sign me up. And I start chuckling. I'm like, totally taken. I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm like, wait a minute, is Ashton Kutcher going to pop out here? Am I being punked right now? Like, what is going on? Did I just date myself by saying Ashton Kutcher? I feel like I did for some people. So I'm like, I'm being punked here, right? I got to find a more relevant person to say. I'm like, I'm being punked here. What's going on? And I'm laughing. And I said this to him. I go, don't you even want to know what it is? And this is what he said to me. This is what I'll never forget. He said, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter? It doesn't matter. I was like, my mind was blown. And he went on to tell me, he goes, I believe that you can help me. And if you're doing it, I'm going to do it too. So what happened in that conversation? Well, that was the first time that I really understood how you create value and by the way, even though I didn't mention my company or my products once, that was every bit as much of a sales conversation as anything that I had ever done in my business. I just sold a different way. I sold myself, not my products, not my company. See, you think the value comes from your products and business and everything you have to offer. It doesn't. Those things are irrelevant at the beginning of a sales process. The only value that you have to offer someone is the actual conversation that you have with them. And the number one thing that you can bring into that conversation is your own personal experience, the problems that you've had, that you've gone through, and the ways that you can help them. And that was a huge shift for me. And so what I want to do is I want to cue you in on the start of this process, because I teach this. And then here's what people naturally say. They say, Bob, that sounds great, but I don't know the problems that I'm supposed to solve. I don't even know where to find the person that I'm looking for. And I bet a lot of you, right? Like we've all been through these trainings, your customer avatar, what's your niche? And we're like, I don't know what it is. And we go through them and we're more confused than we were when we started. I had a client of mine ask me that the other day. She goes, Bob, where do I find my ideal prospect? And I'm going to say to you what I told her. I said, get up, go to the bathroom, and look in the mirror. You are your ideal prospect. You are your ideal prospect. Now, not the version of you today, the version of you right before you started your journey with Beachbody. So if we think about the products, where were you in your life right before you started taking them? What was the problem that you were struggling with that caused you to say, I need to do something different? If you're, as a coach building the business, right? Maybe you were taking the products for a year, or maybe you signed up as a coach, you did nothing with it. What was happening in your life the moment you committed to actually doing this? You are your ideal customer. You are your ideal team member. This is the reason why you struggle when it comes to recruiting and building a team, because your credibility and confidence is tied to your results. And you don't have the results. You don't have the rank. You don't have the followers. So you always feel less than. And you, in your mind, you think the way that you're going to succeed is by someday magically finding this unicorn of a person that's so much better than you in every possible way that you're going to just get lucky enough that they're going to join and you're going to make this thing work. And that's not how this works. I'll share another story with you. One of my coaching clients, Lisa, we're on a Zoom and she brings this problem to me. And here's what she says to me. And she said this word 3 or 4 times in the first 20 seconds of talking to her. She goes, Bob, I feel defeated. I feel so defeated. I feel defeated. And I'm like, Lisa, I get it. You've said it to me 3 times in the first couple of seconds. I said, why do you feel so defeated? She went on to share with me. She goes, you don't understand. I've been in my business for a year and I haven't recruited a single person. Now, what Lisa didn't understand is I did understand at a level that she didn't realize, because I had been there. I was her. And I said, Lisa, I want you to go through a little exercise with me. I said, let's forget about your results for a second. And I said, can you talk to me about you? And she said, well, what do you mean? I go, you. I go, are you the same person today that you were a year ago before you started your journey? And she immediately lit up and she said, no way. And I said, well, in what way are you different? And she went on, she rattled about 5 or 6 things like that. She was like, I'm a better person today. I'm more confident. I've got a positive attitude. I am in better health. She just went on and on and on and on. And the last one, she goes, and I'm a better mom today. And I said, ooh, tell me more about that one. I want to know how you're a better mom. I go, help me understand where you were in your life when you said yes. What was the trigger for you? What was the thing? What was the straw that broke the camel's back? She shared this story with me. She said, I was at a place in my life. I was a stay-at-home mother. I gave up my career for a family, and that's just what I did. But I was at a point in my life where I was really unhappy because I just felt like something was missing and I needed something more. And she said, I felt guilty for feeling that way, but it was who I was. I needed to be doing something where I felt like I was making a difference beyond just being a mother. Now, I give her credit because there's not a lot of mothers that would even say that. But she said, that's where I was. She said, I was getting the kids ready for school. I had two kids, and one of them, a young daughter, 7 years old. She said, I was packing up the lunches and my daughter was sitting at the table eating breakfast. And out of nowhere, she says, Mommy, what's wrong? And she was like, what? Nothing's wrong, sweetheart. What do you mean? And she said to me, your face is sad. And she's like, that was the moment. She said, that was the moment when I knew something had to change. And I was like, wow, Lisa, because I got, I'm getting emotional. I got 2 young kids. So I get that. And I said to her, I said, Lisa, so in what way are you a better mother today? And she just said, well, first off, I'm a better example for my daughter. And I said, Lisa, how does that make you feel? She thought about it for a second. And she said, proud. And then I asked her an important question. I said, Lisa, how often do you feel proud in your business? She said, never. I said, well, maybe that's your problem. Maybe your problem is you don't really understand what it is that you do have to offer people. I said, Lisa, if you recognize that you were your ideal team member and you came across another mother that was like you a year ago, do you think you have something that you could offer that would help her? She said, absolutely. I go, what could you offer her? She said, well, the first thing I could offer her is hope. I could offer her a purpose. I could offer her community and connection and personal growth. I could offer her the ability to be a better example for her children. And I said, here's what's interesting about that answer. Not once did you say a rank or $1 million or all these other things. I said, Lisa, what if your confidence wasn't tied to helping people do that? But what if those things were actually just a byproduct and a result of you helping other women like you do what we're talking about now? See, I'm going to tell you what Body is. It's a personal growth program with a compensation plan. But the compensation part is interesting because that doesn't come into play until you start recognizing the thing that you do have is the personal growth. And that's the thing I'm telling you that people are looking for today. It doesn't diminish the value of the other stuff, but I think far too often we're taught that it's only about the business goals and the achievements, and we start working towards these things. But these are not the things that really create emotional connection in your business, and these are not the things that inspire us. So we're constantly struggling with motivation and taking action. And that leads me to the third and the highest level of value. Barely anybody ever scratches the surface of this. the highest level of value creation in a sales conversation, and your content, by the way, are mission, vision, and values. Mission, vision, and values. Mission is what you do. Vision is why you do it, and values are how you do it. Another interesting piece of research just recently came out. The Harvard Business Review published an article on consumer behavior, what they're looking for. Here's what they found. The number one thing that matters, and this is even more with Gen Z, but the number one thing that matters to consumers is the purpose of a company. They want to do business. Consumers today want to do business with companies that are in this for something more than just making money. And here's what they said. They went on to say, if as a business or as a business owner, if you are able to clearly communicate these things to others, you will win in 2023. If you don't know what they are and you can't communicate them, you're already behind. Mission, vision, and values. Now, I want you to think about this. It's not the mission of your company. Now, if you're with a company that is mission driven and has a purpose, great. But you sharing that purpose and mission to people is still product information. It's your mission, it's your vision, and it is your values that matter. Because when you really start leaning into number 2 and 3, here's what you will recognize. You do not have any competition in the world because there is only one you. Nobody else can be that. So stop trying to be like Meg and stop trying to be like someone else and just do a better job owning who you are and putting that out into the world, knowing that's all you ever have to do. See, because when you're talking about these things, here's what happens, something really powerful. You will no longer worry about the right thing to say, because you will know in your heart and soul, you are saying the right thing for you. See, when you're clear on who you help and you believe that you have been uniquely created to help that person, and you know your mission, vision, and values, if somebody doesn't agree with what you have to say, it doesn't mean what you're saying is wrong. It means that they're not for you. So let's just touch really briefly on what those are. Mission is what you do. You do not sell nutritional products. You are not in the health and wellness business. That is a transactional, product-focused answer. You are in the transformation business. You are in the problem-solving business. You are in the business, just like Lisa learned, of helping stay-at-home mothers find work that gives them purpose and helps them become a better version of themselves so that they can raise better children. That's the business that you're in. That's the thing that people will connect with. That's the message that you need to put out into the world. And when you're clear on the mission, see, the mission comes from 2 things. We teach people in our business how to create this thing called an I help statement. And the I help statement is how you communicate the specific problem that you help solve on your business and product side. There's two things, 2 problems, primary problems that you help solve that's tied to your story. Those things are your mission. Your vision is born from your mission. A lot of people struggle with setting big goals and having a vision because you're only thinking about your business goals and achievements. See, that you should never set a business goal ever again the rest of your life until you first decide 2 things. What is the impact that I want to make? And what is the life that I want to live? Your lifestyle and impact are the things that create an emotional connection and all of your passion and purpose. So your vision is born from your mission. You get clear on this person you can help, and you start thinking about you and a team of other coaches creating this impact in the world over time. And now you feel inspired. And when your confidence starts coming from, I know I can help that person. Now your vision of what's possible begins to expand. Now, here's the thing about the vision, though. This is a mistake people make. They sell the dream first without connecting around the problems. We're conditioned to do this. We sell the dream, the transformation, financial freedom, independence, physical transformation. We sell the end result because we think that's what creates value. There's an order to do this in. You connect with people first around their problems and you build trust. And then and only then do you start getting them to think bigger. You can't sell the dream to somebody that still believes they're living in the nightmare. Connect with them first around problems. And then the last thing is values. Values are how you do what you do. Our values are love, service, and growth. It is the first thing I talk about every single time I address a training, an audience, because that is what is most important to us. Do we provide sales and leadership training? Yes, but we do it through the core values of love, service, and growth. My values are faith and my values are family. They're a part of everything I do. You know, I talk about how in my personal business, it is important for me to do things that I think are in alignment for God's word with my life. I believe God is calling me to love, serve, and grow. And I will talk about God and I will talk about my faith. And if you don't like that, I don't care. Don't watch my videos. Don't join my programs. I don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings. And I don't think anything less of you if that's not your thing, but it ain't going to keep me from talking about it. Because I need to be authentic and aligned with my business needs to be aligned with my values. Because that's what's going to bring your power. And my family, I show my family, I share my life as a father. I'll never, ever pursue success if it takes me away from being a husband and a father, because these are the things at the end of the day that are more important to me. But it's not about me. What are your values? How often are you sharing your values with your audience, with your customers, with your consultants? These are the things that are going to make you different and are going to make you stand out. So that's my message for you today. Meg, I'll turn it back over to you.
That was so good. I was watching the chat bar just blow up, Bob, because I think every single, I mean, there's like what, 99 of us on here. I think everyone on here feels this in their heart, right? And some of you have maybe already started on your own to shift over into more of these transformational conversations. Or if you followed Bob, you're starting to do it. Our team is definitely doing that. But it has to shift, you guys, because let's be honest, how many times do you get a hate girl message? And we're in this kind of business, right? And what happens? I end up rolling my eyes because I'm like, oh, come on, here it's coming, right? Exactly what Bob said. We don't want people to feel like that because we know what we have to offer and we know that we can help people. You just got to slow your roll a little bit, you guys. Slow your roll, get to know the people, make the connections. Bob, this was so good. So do you have any type of homework that you want us to do?
Yeah,
I know you're
so
all
let me
about
throw this out. I
action.
don't know if everybody's aware. Oh, and first, let me just, I was going to take a sip of my drink, but I was like, I need to do this, I think, first before I take my sip of my drink.
Oh.
That was not planned, by the way. That just happened. So,
Oh, that worked
all right. So,
perfectly. Product placement right there.
yeah. So I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but this is what I want to throw out to you. This is what Meg and I talked about. I think it's one thing to be aware of this. Like, hopefully for a lot of you, what I've done is I've shifted your perspective on selling in your business, right? Started to create some value for a different way of doing it, but it doesn't necessarily address the piece of, okay, how do I do it, Bob? Like, I get it. This sounds great. Like, what's the first step? And so in order to really be able to serve you at the highest capacity, here's what I threw out to Meg. I said, Meg, let's do this first training. And if people are into it and they find value in it and they like it and they want to learn it, let's do some more. So what I'm willing to do and what we will do is we're going to do 2 more trainings on this for all of you. Just like this, free training. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not going to sell you anything in any of these trainings. Here's the reason why I'm doing this. Because I've never been more convicted that what we are teaching is exactly what every single person in this profession needs right now. And my purpose and my mission is this. There are so many amazing human beings that are in this type of a business that have all the potential in the world, but they are struggling and they are stuck because they do not have an approach to their business that is going to win in the world we live in today. And my whole reason for doing this, I don't want you to be one of those people. I do not want you to be one of those people. So 2 weeks from today, we are going to do a part 2 to this training at the same time. And here's what we're going to do. I'm going to actually start walking you through the tactics of what this looks like for you. I'm going to help you and I'm going to give you some homework. And I'm actually going to give you a tool to use. This is stuff that we normally only do inside of our programs, but because of my relationship with Meg and because of really what she's meant to our business, I want to be able to give back to all of you. And so I'm gonna actually walk you through how to do this over the next 2 weeks. And we're gonna do some coaching and you're gonna have some homework assignments. So if you're up for that and you're up for the challenge and you want to really make this shift, then here's what I would do. I would invite you not only to attend in 2 weeks, but to tell every single person that you know that is on your team. Meg, I don't know how I don't want to overstep my boundary here. I don't know who we open this up to. Is it cool to say anybody can be here, or am I kind of talking out of turn?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So
Absolutely.
what I would do if I were you is make sure that anybody on your team watches this video, the recording, and you have them show up in 2 weeks from now so that we can teach them exactly what you're going to learn, and imagine what that could do for your business. So I'm excited to continue the process with all of you. And, I know it's going to be really impactful for your business. So not next week. That was my bad. I had a little bit of a scheduling snafu. We're going to do part 2 in 2 weeks. So that gives you plenty of time to promote to some people and see if we can get some more people on here for the second part of the training.
Absolutely. Now, if we're going to have more people, I need to make sure I get a different link.
Well, we can listen, if we need be, we can use my Zoom because we got plenty of capacity on my Zoom.
Okay.
So
all right, we'll connect with that, you guys. So we'll probably be using a different Zoom link, but put it in your calendar, you guys, for January 25th at 1 p.m. EST to actually walk through the tactics. But Bob, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, everybody.
Your heart to serve people in this space is just, it's what we need. It really is what we need. So
I appreciate that. Well, hey, listen, let's stay connected between now and then. I actually last week in a commitment to show up in a bigger way to serve, I go live on Instagram every single morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. So Monday through Friday, every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, I go live on Instagram. I'm teaching all this stuff every day. So let's stay connected. And if you can show up live some mornings, I put the replays on my feed so you can watch them anytime. But let's make sure we stay connected between now and then, and we'll dive into part 2 in a couple of weeks. So thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bob. All right, everyone, I will get this recording up as soon as it's up. All right. So good. I hope that you guys got something from this, and I hope that you just feel like a breath of fresh air. Anyone? Can I see a show of hands where it's like, because you know the vision that you have, you know the purpose that you can make with this business. We just got to tweak how we do it. Okay. And the cool thing is that the tweaks feel good with your heart. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. I'll